Hey folks, it's a bit windy today, so I hope the audio is alright, but we've got a beech and hornbeam hedge behind me. It goes down the length of the drive. As you can see, it's a little bit thin. We planted it a few years ago, hoping it'd thicken up, but all it's done is, it's growing pretty well, but all it's done is kind of chase the light, because this side of the drive, we've got some really tall trees, and that's where the sun is, so it's chasing the light, not thickening, and I think it would just look a lot nicer on the entrance if it was laid, so I'm going to give it a go. This will be my first one I've done myself, and it's slightly uphill up the drive, so we're going to sort of lay it up the drive. I believe that's the right thing to do. Some of the beech that's in there, as you can see, this is a beech. These bigger ones are the hornbeam. Some of the beech aren't doing so well. They're a little thin, so I don't know whether it's the right thing to do to pleach them over or just let them grow. But we'll see what looks right when we start staking in a few stakes. Managed to get hold of some hazel stakes and some hazel, I can't remember what they're called, but whips for the top that get wrapped around to hold all the fence together. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So this is a pleach cut. It's cutting into the stem and leaving 30% attached via the bark, and the other gets kind of cut off on an angle, disperses the water. And the idea is, I don't know whether this is true on hornbeam and beech, but it is on hawthorn. It promotes new growth from the bottom and thickens the bottom up. So I'm going to cheat a little bit with this first one and do it with a saw. Usually you do it with the bill hook, split it, fold it over. I've already taken a bit of a notch out of this, so it comes in nice and tight when it gets laid over. Okay, so as you can see, we've left about 30% and 70%. Now this can be, I put a bill hook down here now and split this, and then it'll fold over and sit on a nice angle like that. I'm just going to use my axe. So it looks like you're doing damage here, but you get it down, split it open, so it's held on by a bit of a thread, and that will lay down nicely. And this cut can be taken down like that. So I've got a gate here, so I can't get this one down quite properly, but I've also got a corner to turn here, so I'll be patient with this one. Not really sure what to do with this thin beech next to it, but let's carry on. For the stakes, you're wanting to use these nice straight pieces, and I've been taking about 5-6 foot. The wind was actually really bad here, so I took the audio off, but this is the second part. You have to get a stake, usually 5 to 6 foot, sharpen the end with an axe so you can knock it into the ground. I used a sledgehammer here to start. It was my biggest sledgehammer, and I quickly realised it was a mistake because it was just too heavy to be. It was just too heavy to be throwing around high up, and the impact of a hammer actually splits the wood. So shortly after, I did actually make a wooden mallet, and this is just me continuing to sharpen some stakes and mess around with the microphone. The wind was really relentless on this day. It kept throwing my tripod over. I tried to use mics, but yeah, nothing really worked. So here I'm just showing you from elbow to fingertip. Here's the measurement between the stakes.
patched a few and starting to look good. It's starting to take some sort of shape. It's a little thin. I would have liked more planted, but it is what it is. I've got to say, we'll work with that. Problem is you get a big one, and then you get a really tiny one to fill quite a big gap. Nearly run out of stakes, so I might just start doing a little bit of binding. But yeah, it's starting to look good. I'm quite happy with it so far. This is a pleach cut on one of the big ones. It leaves 30% on. That'll stay alive. That'll now grow. Hopefully, it'll be incentivized to grow from the root as well, picking up that bottom bit.
So we need to make another stake. It's a better day today. The sun's out, and we're going to try and continue with this hedge. So we'll just keep going. This pole is a little bit too long, and it's got a bit of a kink here, so I'll probably cut it off. Maybe there. Yeah, that'll be fine. We'll cut it off there, make it a nice, neat pole. Okay. And we're going to sharpen it with this axe. It's very sharp. Just you can do a bit of this next, Oz. You just need some points on the end. Always drive the axe away from you. Never start driving it towards you, because if it slips, it'll cut into you. And always do it far enough away from your leg. Don't do it here, slip and hit your leg. Do it here, so if you slip off, there's nothing to hit of yours, yeah?
It'd probably be better doing it on the surface, to be honest. We'll give it a try, I guess. You'd need to hold the end of the pole for me, though, because...
Well, you need to just find the leverage of the pole and hold it yourself. Okay, it's a nice little spike all the way around. If you want to do that on the pile, so pick a pole, use the pile as your chopping block. You can use that, but be careful, it's very sharp. And next here, we want to put this pole in, and you want to keep it all nice and tight to the hedge so it's all in a nice straight line. And you want to go elbow to fingertip for your spacings. Yeah. I can get him in there. Use the homemade mallet. A little taparoo. Now you don't have to drive them in too far, just enough to be able to play with. And now we can pleach cut this next little beach. They're not very big in here, but I think it'll just about make a fence. That's good enough. I'm getting a little bit late as the leaves are coming out, but it doesn't mind, it'll be fine. Can I just borrow that axe for a second? Thank you. The hornbeam have done really well here. So I'm going to start up here. Taking 70, leaving 30. There's the axe. And then get in here with the axe. Start trying to split it, see how it's now splitting down here. That's what we want. So I'll keep working on that split. Maybe take a little bit more tension out. looking pretty good. This needs coming in, there's branches going off in all directions, and we need to make it flow with the fence. So this sturdy thing, I'm never going to be able to pull that to. So what we can do is make a 50-50 sort of wedge cut in here to help it bend over, like this. Okay, so I've not gone through more than 50% of that branch, and now he will just come down nicely. And I need to just maybe nip these. So we work up the tree, just nipping into these branches so they fold, so we can get the flow of the hedge. Now see here, we've got the flow of the hedge in place. It's all nice and thick. That's kind of what I'd like all these trees to be like. No stock would really be able to get out of there. And it looks all nice and neat when you come along with the binders, and that'll hold it all in. And that's looking pretty good. This is what you're after for the binders. Right, I'm going to show you a little bit more binding now. So, we're going to get in here. With this one, we've got 3 thick ones, so I'm going to try and use a little bit of a thinner one. I'm going to fetch these down, trap this guy, and then we're going to wrap him. Wrap, wrap, wrap. Like that. And then we're going to take him in front of this one and behind this guy, and then back in front of this one, just like that. Okay. Now we've got an end here to terminate, so we'll terminate him like that, and then we'll find the next one. So this one now goes in here. We get these 2, fetch them down to trap, and then wrap. I'm getting caught up in the hedge down there. Wrap them around nicely. And then he goes behind this one, in front of this one. And there's one on the back here to terminate. So, terminate that. Just tidy up some of the bits. And now that you've got the bind going on, you can see it's coming up. And we'll go along and tap it down and come back on that. Ideally there'd be more bush at the top of these hedge plants, but there isn't. I pruned them a couple of months ago and then decided to lay the hedge, so there's not much bushiness to work with, but we'll do what we can. We might even do a secondary wrap on the top. Okay, so we'll keep going. So we're now doing the same again, getting them in, trapping and wrapping. You get the idea. And you can just get your hammer now and come along and move it down the posts. Until it's all somewhat level. What are you up to? The idea? Looking good. That's a nice bunch of hazel binders to finish this hedge off. Looking pretty good. We've got about a third left to bind. That's quite quick. So we'll crack on. Binders, yeah. We're just going to finish. We've got to this point, we're just going to finish. We've got about a third left. It's raining again today, hence why I got my umbrella on. But that will not stop us. We'll keep cracking on. These binders are nice and fresh. I'm just going to take some of the, what we refer to as feathers, bits of live sticks and leaves off. There we go. Right, let's crack on. You're not going to believe this. I'm literally on the last part. I've come right to the end and it's a little bit sparse. So I've just gone and found one last plant to put in here. And the first hole I dig, guess what I find? A bill hook. You just couldn't write that. You could not make that up. And before I started doing this, I went looking for one of these to restore, to do this project. And it comes to me on the final hole. How weird. How weird. Right, let's see if we can give this thing a little bit of a tidy up.
I don't think I'm going to clean the majority of it much up past that. I kind of like the kind of rough finish. I'll wire brush it so it's all clean. I just wanted to show you this edge before I flatten it. It looks like someone's been hammering the top and it's ended up with a bit of a bird over edge. See there, the top? I'm just going to take that flat. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's one old billhook, dug up, repurposed, new handles made out of oak, ready to use. I think that's pretty cool. We've had a few new tools on this venture. Did angle grind my hand there. Oof. Well, I think that concludes the fence. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with that for the first go. And we've got a few more tools than we had before. I think that's really cool. And we'll see you on the next one. See you for now.